by Multigen Mindset Institute. I've become more and more convinced as this life goes on that as much as we live in an unfair universe where things happen to people that aren't right, we also live in a justified and fair universe where everything's paid back right for right and wrong for wrong. With a universe that hangs in such perfect balance, from the molecular levels to the tiniest cells to Jupiter and the things the size of the moon and the stars, and everything in a perfect harmony and perfect balance for millions of years. And we wake up as a human in this universe, trying to make sense of it all, trying to understand, trying to make it work, trying to figure ourselves out, and, do better. This talk is called Pain for Pain because I've come to learn that nobody will ever get away with anything. And if somebody's hurt you or done something or let you down, I just want to give you a moment through this talk to release them. There's a scripture in the Bible that says it's God's job to repay, than not to take vengeance. And there's a reason for that. It's vibrational, it's tone. If you're angry and you're lashing out or you're defending yourself or you're doing something to somebody to get back at them or taking vengeance, then that is a state of being. And it's not love. Love is being hung on the cross when you're innocent and looking out and saying, forgive them, they know not what they do. And they say that true forgiveness can only come with the deepest of understanding, that the people that have hurt you, that have let you down, hell, even the moments where you've let yourself down, even the moments where you've betrayed your own self, are moments of misunderstanding, and that all mistakes are just miscalculations of truth, of data. And so we live in a place that's so harsh because we are paid back pain for pain, tear for tear, smile for smile. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced that every bit of pain that I've ever caused anybody in my life, that within this life, I will have to feel the same equivalent pain or more in some fashion or form. It does say you reap what you sow. It does say seed for seed. Well, we live in a universe where people are held accountable for the things that they've done. And yeah, it's confusing when you see our society and you see things happening in our society where people are getting away with things. And in truth, maybe on the surface level, it looks like they're getting away with it. But the truth is they never will, because even at the end of this life, they're going to be held accountable in their life review for who they've been while they've been here. And not only are you held accountable while you're still alive, through the quality of life that you live, the level of happiness that you have, the true level of joy. You sacrifice all of those things when we operate out of the lower versions of ourselves. We're taking vengeance on somebody, we're blaming somebody, we're in a victim state. Or we're continually mad at somebody for years at a time for something they've done, and we've never been able to come to the full circle of understanding to fully see why that person did what they did to you. And yeah, there's situations where we run into psychotics where they actually aren't operating out of reason when they hurt you, and then you try to deal with that, and you try to psychoanalyze that person and understand why they did what they did. And yeah, there's some people in this life that when they did what they did to you, they weren't acting logically and they were acting in a psychotic state, and there's no way you're ever going to understand why they did what they did to you. And it's tough in that situation because sometimes we'd rather have preferred to actually done something to somebody if they're going to accuse us of it. The worst thing ever is being accused of a crime or something that you actually didn't do. And And I don't know why it is, but sometimes we get in these altercations with people where, we try to grasp why they behave, why they did what they did. And we think that to get over it, to find forgiveness, to let the situation go, we have to understand. We have to understand why did they do this, right? And sometimes the why is what you're reaching after to find understanding. But rather than trying to find the why for them, why don't you try to find the why for humanity? Because this is a humanity problem. You take things personal because, well, you feel like you're your own individual person with your own identity, and you feel separate from everybody else. And because of that, you take things personal. When in a universal scope of things, and in a million-year scope of things, this is humanity, and you're part of humanity, and humanity does things to each other. And so when you depersonalize what you went through, it can help you detach from needing to find specifically what happened in that situation with that person that made them do this to you, or break up with you, or leave you, or lie about you, or whatever happened that you are struggling with now. Trust me, that person will deal with their God. They will deal with what they did to you in their own way, whether they ever tell you they're sorry or not, or they ever tell you they realize they were wrong or not. Sometimes you won't ever get the closure that you need. Yeah, it'd be great if 2 years from now, somebody that screwed you over 2 years ago called you and said, hey, I'm sorry for what I did. I was in a bad place. I was in a low spot. I was confused. It'd be great for that kind of closure to come, but we don't always get that. And so we live sometimes with these ongoing conflicts within ourselves from something in the past that we had experienced, that we've already, from a time perspective, moved on, but from a reality perspective, we're still in it. We're still living in the past, literally, because the trauma of what you went through, you haven't released yet. And so this talk is called Pain for Pain. And I'm talking to for those of us who have hurt other people, and those of us who have been hurt by other people, because this talk is for both of you. If you've ever hurt anybody and done something that it's hard for you to forgive yourself, it's because you want to be a good person and be accountable, and this thing with this relationship with this person went down and you weren't the person you wanted to be, or you broke up with the girl and you left, or something happened and you just, in that moment, you just weren't the person that you had wished that you want to be. And sometimes we live with that regret, and that regret keeps us from living alive fully in the moment now. And so this talk is for people who have also perpetrated and also been the victim. And there is a need for us to have that other person feel pain. When somebody hurts us, we want them, and we don't feel like it's right and made right until that person has felt the same amount of pain that we think that we have felt. And in our lower minds, in our lower brains, we actually believe this is true. We actually believe that if somebody felt the same pain that they caused you, that the universe would be a fair place. Where the problem with that is that we've come here on this earth to make choices and to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes and to become a higher spiritual being that's willing to be responsible and that's willing to operate through love. Until we're here to live this life until we're hung on the cross and we can look out and say, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And so on one hand, the things that you have experienced that are hurtful, it's also the loving universe giving you stimulation to grow. And it's so hard to think about life like that, because we sometimes get mad at God because we're like, we can acknowledge that God's there, but it's almost like we don't want to acknowledge we like him, or it's that we don't want to acknowledge that we appreciate him, or it's that we don't want to acknowledge that we trust him, or it's that we don't want to acknowledge that he's a good parent. And I think that's where we struggle with understanding is why would God let this happen? Why would this happen? Why I prayed? Why is God letting this person hurt me? Why did God let me go through this? Why didn't God warn me, right? And there's all these questions. And at the end of the question is an accusation. Why didn't boom? Why didn't boom? It's always an accusation because you're still in a victimhood state. You haven't realized that the whole universe is surrounding around you to squeeze you, to show you what's inside of you so that you can become better. And whether it's a traffic ticket, a broken heart, or a flat tire, the way to unlock the key of your circumstance is by merging with what is and accepting that that situation, whatever it is, has been brought to make you better. And in that understanding, you gain the power to convert the thing to good. But as long as you're a victim, as long as this thing was done to you and it's personal and this was somebody that hurt you, instead of this being humanity's way of healing humanity. And when you can zoom out and see that, you can kind of gain the glimpse of why Jesus would say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because that's the state that you want to get to. That's the state of all love, of all understanding. That's the state where somebody can do something horribly to you and you actually aren't traumatized. You aren't put into a negative, derogatory spin because of what they've done to you because, well, you're just a higher being than that. You're a higher vibrational level. You have a deeper understanding. And so sometimes we are stimulated by life through negative experience in order to experience the negative that's inside of us. And when that negative inside of us comes out, we can finally see it. We sometimes don't ever know how we will actually react in a situation until the situation occurs. And then when it occurs, we actually see what rises up in us to meet that circumstance. And that's when you see your immaturity. That's when you see your lashing out. That's when you see you cussing somebody out. That's when you see you raging. That's when you see the person that you didn't think that you were come out. That's when you see that you're not actually the great, wise, understanding person that you would like to be. And it's these situations that come to us that show us who we are. And so again, it's not until a situation comes to you to challenge the deepest unhealed parts of you in order to show you those parts so that you can see them. So again, as humans, we have to have a why. Because, well, if we don't have a why and it doesn't make sense, well, something has to make sense. The Holocaust has to make sense. We have to make sense of things. We have to make sense of the car accident. We have to make sense of the divorce. We have to because if there's no meaning behind it, then what is the purpose? And humans being meaning-making machines, we assign our own meaning to things. And in the book by Frankl about the Holocaust, Man's Search for Meaning, that's what he discovers, is that the ones inside the Holocaust camp that actually survived, the ones that lived the longest, were the ones who kept meaning, who kept a deep meaning of there's got to be something beyond this, right? And so this talk, Pain for Pain, it's to empower you to be able to rise up in your circumstance and to merge with it so that you can gain the keys to unlock it, to release you. Because circumstance holds us hostage. And reality, it's our own selves and our own limitations and our own unwillingness to grow and our own unwillingness to own who and what we are that keeps us locked in circumstance. The key to most circumstances is going back to the basics of saying, not why did this happen, but how can I grow from this? That foundational question takes it out of a personal attack from the universe or a person and puts it into the perspective of a loving universe and a loving God that's trying to make you grow. And therefore, it's not a personal attack. It's very personal because, well, it's the universe dealing with your heart and dealing with your stubbornness or your willingness to grow or your unwillingness to grow, but you're dealing with the deepest parts of yourself. Things in life are here to guide you. And there is a magic key that unlocks every circumstance, and every circumstance is always a little bit different than the other. There was a contractor, personal stories, there was a contractor that I did some business with, and the contractor didn't do some things right. He wasn't ethical. He did some things on a project. It cost us a lot of money. He did some shady things for the year and a half or year that he worked with us. Shady things. And we caught him doing them. And he had just completed a project. And on that project, he was owed $2,400. And I decided to withhold that money and accuse him of theft and accuse him of the things that we knew that he did, but to use those things that he did to us as justification to not pay him. And ever since I had made that decision, things in my life had started to spiral and get worse, and things started going haywire over here, and things started going haywire over there, and then we started losing jobs, and then we got a few negative reviews. And I was like, why is this situation? I couldn't figure it out. Why is this happening? Why? I'm looking for the why. I'm asking, how can I grow through this? What do you challenge me for? And then one day I came upon the concept of ethics. And I was like, well, where am I out of ethics? And I said, well, I did kind of rob that guy of $2,400. He didn't deserve the money. Right? But the fact is that under our contractual agreement, I agreed to pay him on the projects that he completed. And when I realized my wrong and I sent him money, it was that same day that another sale of $2,500 came in. And then 3 days later, a $17,000 job came in. And I realized the moment that I sent that guy money and apologized to him for what I did, I literally felt pressure of the universe lift off of me. We find ourselves in these situations where we are locked in situations and we've caused somebody else harm, and we're justifying it in some kind of way because we have to be at peace with ourselves. We have to at least have some rationalization for why we've done something. And we use those rationalizations from taking responsibility. Sometimes you can't go back and pay the money back. Sometimes you can't go back and give the 10 years to the girl. Sometimes you can't go back and reverse the car accident, reverse what you did. Sometimes you literally can't go back and fix what you did with the person. But that doesn't mean in your heart you can't realize that, hey, this was wrong. And at some point you're turning and seeing where you were wrong is when it happens, when you can finally put yourself in that person's shoes fully and experience willingly what they may or may not have experienced in pain from you. So if you broke up with a girl and you know that you shouldn't have or whatever, you can imagine yourself in their circumstances. You can imagine being them looking at you and then trying to feel what that person is feeling. And it's when you can take yourself out of your own justification and rationalization of the choices that you made and standing in your stubbornness and say, well, hold on, what did that person experience? And this isn't everybody. Sometimes we've been hurt by people. I know that there's people I've talked to that their husbands had affairs on them and they didn't do a darn thing to deserve it. And there's almost no way to putting yourself, in that person's shoes of why they did what they did, to try to take responsibility it's almost insane and difficult. But this talk is to tell you that a lot of the times that we hold on to things, that when people have done things to us, part of the reason that we hold on to them is because we feel like that person got away with it. We just don't want them to get away with it. And if you've ever talked to somebody that has been deeply hurt, they are very vocal about it. And statistics in business state that it's 10 times harder to get a client to write you a good review than it is to get a client to write a bad review. It says that the emotional energy it takes to piss somebody off enough to go leave you a bad review is so much smaller than the amount of joy and gratitude and appreciation you have to birth in that person for them to be willing to go online and say something positive about you. And those same social dynamics play out and the situations when we hurt other people or we've been hurt by people, is that when somebody hurts us, we want to lash out. We want to put our opinion out. We want other people to know. We want justification. We want to stand on the rooftop. We want to be made whole, right? And that's the reason why when somebody gets angry at a company, they'll just immediately just go leave a negative review. They don't give a shit. Because they want to get their voice out. Because that's the only way to pay back, right? Because they're trying to pay you back. You hurt them. Your business hurt them. They feel like they were hurt, and now they want to pay back. And when you're in that situation, when somebody's hurt you and you want to pay back, that's not love, and it's a low vibration. And that's why we're warned about being the ones to take vengeance. And we're also cautioned to understand that the universe is a fair place. And you don't have to be the one that punishes that person for what they did to you in order for it to be made right within you. It's okay to heal what happened within yourself and move on and let God and the universe deal with that person. And it's that release that keeps us locked. It's the unwillingness to go into that release that keeps us locked into a circumstance. And it's when we circle and we circle and we circle because there's something that happened and it's not healed. And this talk Pain for Pain, I just want to let you know, if you're listening to this, that if you are dealing with something where you've been hurt deeply, understand that that person that did that to you is going to have to face the consequences and the punishment for what they did. And they're not going to get away with it, whether in this life or the next. And I promise you, there will be a situation where that person has something bad happen to them, and the whole universe tells them intuitively that the reason they're experiencing that pain is for what they did to you. And I know this for a fact because in the personal story I shared with you about that contractor who had robbed us for about a year, and I decided to keep his pay on the last project. So when I did that, when I withheld that money from that contractor, and everybody that knew the situation told me he doesn't deserve the money, my intuition said you need to pay him the money because of the fact that, one, you don't want to create an enemy. You want to be clean on your side. Pay him the money and move on so that everything's done, right? That's what my intuition said. Whether he factually deserved it or not, my intuition said, be clean, right? Well, what started happening is we would lose deals. We would go give a $4,500 quote and the person would back out, they would cancel, and things kept getting taken that I felt was earned. And I kept getting pointed back to the situation with the contractor, almost being told, hey, you're receiving this pain right now, this loss, because of what you did to this person. It's almost like the universe tells you, this is punishment for that. And I don't know if you guys listening have experienced this in life, but there's been times when I got broken up with by a woman and the universe said, you're experiencing this pain because of what you did to that other woman 10 years ago. There's been times when the universe has pointed out the pain that I'm experiencing and said, this is cleaning the slate. You're experiencing this pain so that the slate of ethics can be cleaned, because you're in a fair universe that does pay back pain for pain, tear for tear, and joy for joy. And if you hurt somebody, you have to endure that same exact pain within this life. And the reason I know this is true is because when you listen to near-death experiences, there's thousands of these near-death experiences online. And when you listen to them, there's some common threads in all of them. And the afterlife review is something that is common within almost every near-death experience. A life review is when you sit with your spiritual guides after you die as a human, and you go through like a film of your life, and you get to experience all of the joy that you caused others, all of the love that you caused others. You get to experience all the good that you helped people. You're shown where you helped somebody that you weren't even aware of. You know, one situation I heard of was a woman was talking to a young girl about keeping her body pure, and she was shown that in heaven, that when she went to wherever she went, not heaven, but wherever she went, she was shown that one of the pathways for that young girl would have been that she would have become a stripper and gotten into adult entertainment. But because when they were young, she counseled with this girl, and she actually directed the girl's path into a positive way. And so when she died, she went into the place of afterlife, and with her guides, the guides showed her who she was through her life. Not who she thought she was, but truly who she was. And that's the disconnect that keeps us locked in our circumstances. Whether somebody aggressed against us and hurt us and we're not moving on, or we've hurt somebody else or done something unethical and we haven't made it right or seen it, and it's holding us back. So in the afterlife review, you're shown your entire life, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. And during the life review, if you have caused pain to somebody and you hadn't made it right or felt the same pain within this life already, you had to experience it after life, because we do live in a fair universe where tear for tear and joy for joy and love for love is paid back. You reap what you sow. And so I promise you, if you're listening to this talk and you're the one that was hurt and you're the one that somebody's been hurting, that person will feel every ounce of pain that they caused you. So there's no reason for you to hold on to it any longer. There's no reason for you to blame that person any longer. There's no reason for you to hold that person accountable any longer. There's no reason for you to need for that person to hurt any longer. There's no reason for you to take vengeance. There's no reason for you to lash out. There's no reason for you to hold on to the unforgiveness any longer, because now you know, whether it's in this life or after, they will feel the full effects of what they've done to you, and they will be shown how they hurt you and how they were wrong. And if you are the person that's listening to this and you are experiencing where you hurt somebody, where you did something, I give you comfort. I give you comfort that that person will be made whole from what you did, whether it's you making it right or not. And simply turning and seeing and saying, hey, I was wrong, is a start to fixing the karmic episode that was created by the actions you took with that person. Now, if there's no way to make that person whole, maybe you owed somebody money and they passed away. Well, you can find their next of kin and say, I owed this person money, here's their money. And that would make things right. Maybe sometimes if it's not a monetary thing, it's an emotional thing, a broken heart or something. It's like, how do you make it right? You can call that person and say, hey, I shouldn't have been this person with you, and maybe that can close the cycle of communication so you both can move on. But maybe you're in a situation where none of that is possible, and you feel like there's no way to give back to that person what you took from them. I comfort you now in that you have unwillingly acted as a tool of the universe to help that person grow. Because in one way or another, the pain that you caused them has made them stronger. The pain that you caused them has guided them to a deeper place in themselves before the pain that you caused them. It's the universe makes all things good. The universe has a way to transmute all things into good if you let it. If you work with the universe, if you sit and you say, where am I wrong? How can I make this right? And you declare that you want to start making things right in your universe. There is a way to make up for something that you did to somebody that you can't go back to that same person. You can find somebody and do good and dedicate that good to that person. So what you're dealing with is on a karmic level, you have to pay back what was taken, or it will be taken from you, right? But on the soul level, one way to overdo karma, one way to undo karma, one way to pay karma back, one way to get karma neutralized is to go back and make right what was wrong. But if you can't, then what you can do is dedicate moving forward to not being that person, and in the intention and in the growth of understanding how you did wrong, understanding how you didn't live up to the person you can be. In that realization is repentance and a turn of behavior and saying, I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to be this, or I want to be that. I don't want to, right? So there's a turning in you, right? That in itself could cause the karmic episode to dilute to where the payback of the universe is not so intense. Now, I will warn you that there's scriptures and ancient texts that teach about the veracity and of grace that is applied or not applied, or the veracity of payback that is applied to you versus the grace that you are given based upon the knowledge of your maturity. And the scripture states that it is better to a person to have never learned the secrets of the universe, the laws of the universe, the laws of karma, the laws of energy, the laws of forgiveness. It's better for a person to have never learned those laws so that they can be held accountable than to you have learned the laws, to listen to these videos, to understand karma, to understand energy, to understand karmic episodes, to understand that you reap what you sow, right? So it's worse for a person that knows the laws and still violates it, because you are held fully accountable. Remember, we live in a fair universe, and I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but when Jesus looked out over, when they hung him on the cross, and he looked out over those people, he said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So he said, forgive them, and here's why, right? So again, we not only live in a legal universe, but we live in a universe where things are brought to light and justice reigns, and we live in a universe where fairity reigns. So with that being said, Jesus said, forgive them, and here's the reason why. They know not what they do. They are in ignorance. So they were given grace that they didn't deserve because of their ignorance. So where you have acted in ignorance, there's a measure of grace for you in that. I've also noticed that as I've gotten older, the severity of and also the immediacy, the speed of which I'm paid back for little things, even little things that I do that I know aren't ethical. The cycle, the loop of payback is almost instant now. It's almost like when I was a young boy and I was in my early 20s, and there's a measure of grace on decisions to where they didn't impact me. I could make mistakes and they didn't impact, I could just roll on. But as now that I'm 40, every mistake that I make has a huge toll of consequence, and I am brought accountable immediately. And that is because of wisdom and maturity and knowledge. The older you get, the more wisdom and maturity and knowledge you get, the more accountable that you're held, because, well, you know better, right? And so this talk is pain for pain, and it's because I want to give those who are hurting because you've hurt others, and those that are hurting because you've been hurt by others, I want to give you both grace, a measure of grace, you know? And so I encourage you this night, I encourage you this day, that you can trust in this universe, you can trust in your path, you can trust that whoever has hurt you, it is being handled. They're not getting away with it. And for that matter, the more you stay in the state of needing that person to be paid back, for as long as you're in that state, for long as the pain and the circumstance will keep you locked. Because at a certain point, you don't want that person to get hurt. You don't want that person, even though they hurt you terribly, you don't want that person to get hurt. You want that person to grow, and you can understand they might not have meant to hurt you. You can understand that it wasn't personal. You can understand that there's something inside of them that wasn't right. You can understand that inherently they're a good person, and if they truly knew what they were doing to you, they wouldn't have done it. And with that understanding, you can give them a measure of grace, and then you could exit the space of needing them to hurt. If you've liked these talks, check out multigenmindset.com. for more videos and courses. Thank you.